I'm clicking. Thank you for the reminder.
Welcome everybody to our first roundtable of the year. So we'll get more participation from folks throughout the year. So again, is our outreach to our MS4 partners. Hopefully you're getting something out of this. Today, we're going to take a little bit deeper dive into the MS4 permit. It's about how you're doing compliance wise with the current permit. Maybe some things you want to think about with your community and what things you need to prepare for, things that you might need to be doing, or if you've even aware of it. So that's kind of what we want to gauge with everybody is where are you at with the permit? We're into it a little bit now, and it's time to kind of start thinking of how we're going to be in compliance with that permit should you get on it. Well, here. So our community partners, I hope you all saw that. We can't do this stuff without our community partners. So take advantage of it. Come to the roundtables. Use our information. We're here to help you be compliant with this. So it's going to work for me. We got a lot of working parts going on here today. That's here.
We thought we got all of our technical issues out of the way this morning, but yay. Good job, Dave.
Few upcoming events. Stormwater Awareness Week is October 27th, or October, first week of October. That again is like a regional outreach for MS4s. They can join in. We've got information on our website. A couple other websites there you can check out to get that information. We're also going statewide this year. We've got House Bill 426 coming through. It's in here right now. Hopefully that will be recognized while Stormwater Awareness Week across the state. So it's really something that communities can join in on and get some of that information out and meet some of those MCM requirements for their permit. I'm also a board member of Ohio Stormwater Association, so I'd be remiss to not push a little bit of our upcoming events. We have one actually tonight. Terra Brewing is doing an event with stormwater down Terra. They're also be the Audubon doing some walkthroughs on their stormwater infrastructure down there. Just a couple other webinars that are coming up as well. I'll be heading up the regulatory webinar October 9th. So if you're interested in that, check out OSWA for those events. Like I said, we're talking about, are you ready for the next permit? This is kind of the MS4 readiness. One of the problems we always have with folks is their readiness to respond. So guess what everybody gets to do today? Get a little response button here. You can respond anonymously. Get your input.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So now hopefully you can answer these questions honestly without recourse. Give you some idea of how this is going to work. So
say what the Ohio EPA versus the. Yeah,
that's always the problem. You're afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
So, are you ready for the next permit? The way this works, check and see if you get a little green, everybody getting a green button when they press their answer. You can press it as many times as you want, it won't repeat, but just as long as you're getting a green response button there. Little green LED, looks like you got it there, good, okay. So now let's see what the results are.
Yeah, I've got my poll question going in the
And
back.
we got poll questions going out to the
Virtual
the,
folks.
Virtual folks as well. So let's see.
Is this gonna conflict with yours?
Poll questions are, I think interfering with mine.
With yours?
Yeah, it's not advancing for me.
I don't think mine should be interfering since I'm just screen sharing your screen, but
Said, we have a lot of moving parts going on here. Listen, it's not gonna work. Apologize, we're trying to get it to work, trying to get it to work. Ah,
oh, there we go.
here we go. Here's the results.
Nice.
We have one, didn't know there's a permit. Good, I'm glad there's somebody who's honest about that. That's something there.
I think that was me.
That was you.
I
Okay.
thought it was a NA, there's no NA.
No, this is honest answers. I'm sorry. There's not applicable. So the reason we're talking about this, here's the latest MS4 permit. Of course, you can see the issuance date, expiration March of 26. So we're 2.5 years into it. We're 1.5 years away from the new permit being out. Sorry for the text heavy on this. It's kind of what I went through their MS4 summary sheet, pulled a lot of this stuff out, so we're gonna just kind of go through it and make sure you guys are aware of stuff. You know, some of the administrative changes, of course, were like, 1 year from the effective date to have things, your swamp updated. So, things like that. Require the NOIs, be permitted, submitted electronically. I think most of these things, everybody's already aware of and doing. So here's the next poll question. Have you updated your swamp? I was told by some of our younger folks to put a name in there, so yeah.
She will be disappointed that no one laughed out loud at that. She was,
I see at least on the, we
Yep.
have some no's on the,
yep, we got a 50-50 working on the online folks, looks like.
see if I can get mine coming up here. Like, if everybody. I think I've only got 5.
It's thinking.
Jumped ahead. Again, I apologize for this. This is, it should be running. Dancing. Directions for me. So. Again. A lot of the changes that have happened in the permit, this permit term with the TMDLs. We're going to talk to a lot of that because as you can see, notice here, it does say this one includes TMDL performance standards for all the minimum control limits. So every one of these, this is just the sections for each one of those minimum control limits, but they all have something about TMDLs in the permit language. So now, here's something about that. If you read permit, there's appendix A. Check to see if there's your community has a TMDL. Variances, big variances. So here's we pull. Quicker. Works fine, you can do it for yourself at your desk. That's another thing to put in front of you. So sorry about that.
Let's just take a minute to.
We'll move on. If you haven't seen appendix A, here it is. This is for Franklin County. So as you notice, most of the cities are in here. All the townships are under our permit. Got Columbus and Metro Parks. Notice this one says Rocky River. That should be Rocky Park actually there. Just the Columbus River, and they got Rocky River there. That's North Olmsted. Yeah, here. Big Walnut, of course. We got the rest of the appendix. Here's our permit, Franklin County. We have most of the watersheds and anything that's in TMDLs, of course. And then we've got, of course, the categories over here of what we're required to look at. This is when it's going to apply to your municipality based on these categories. Franklin County, we have basically all three of them. Nutrients, E. coli, and sediment. So a lot of our outreach covers all the bases all the time because we're trying to reach that. All of those categories, regardless of where it is. We spent a lot on outreach and developing programs throughout the years. So we're keeping our outreach consistent with this throughout the year, throughout the permit terms, and not just what the minimum requirements are looking at what a lot of this during the permit term. So that's like once every 5 years. We just feel like it really takes the constant messaging to get that word out like that. So now we'll ask, we'll try to get, did you learn anything different? When you can't hear us ask the same question and see if you guys, if yes, you learned something new, or no, you didn't know that. So hopefully we'll try getting results again here. How's your other stuff look?
All my folks are chiming in. 3 out of 7, though. Kevin indicated he was having trouble seeing the last couple polls on here, so
Okay,
see if this is visible or not.
and hopefully it doesn't look like everybody's getting their vote in. Came in late, you don't have a button, do you?
I stopped working.
Not getting a green mark.
No, I'm getting rid of that. Sure.
Oh.
I got this last meeting right now.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one and see if that works better for you, and I'll give you some time on that. Yeah, I get the poll questions. So it's kind of-
All because you're the, yeah, because you're joining in.
as well. So hopefully everybody's aware of the 6 minimum control values, understand that. We're gonna kind of assume you have been exposed to them just in case. We're looking at public education and outreach. See, of course, here's what they're looking for. Outreach is gonna have to produce stormwater gas. We'll go into the, it's just not working. Switch to the. Now switch it now after I dropped it. Lord, difficulties. So I'm going to control measure 1, which is public education outreach. The TMDL performance standard is targeting those pollutants. Each TMDL smallest or at least once towards satisfying the minimum 5-year storm. Your 5 stormwater themes. So should be addressing that in your outreach through your 5 themes and looking at each one of those, whatever the appendix A had you listed for. So here we'll try this poll again here. If you're getting a green signal,
Yeah.
better get the green on their clicker.
Yeah.
This tallies up the results. It's a little better. So, yeah, so that's kind of what I was figuring, you know, you kind of have an idea what those themes are. Maybe not all of them. But also understand you need to incorporate that outreach with the TMDL aspects. And I think a lot of that outreach is probably covering that information. You know, when you're sending out HSTS notices to folks, you know, it's talking about that nutrient loading aspect of having a maintained system. So I think if you're doing some of that, you've already got some of that TMDL language covered. I'd probably defer to EPA on that one and say, does that sound reasonable of an approach with some of those things?
A lot of my area, so I don't want to group your comment.
Did Lynette sign it?
That's on.
Was she on it? I was wondering, I'm curious.
Yes, Lynette is on.
If she had something to add to that, perhaps.
She has unmuted herself, I think. Lynette, are you able to, if you want to chime in, feel free.
Sounds like, again, we're having maybe some technical there.
Kyle, are you on? Can you unmute yourself and just test that real quick? Make sure we can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Okay. Well, for anyone that's online, I guess if you want to unmute yourself, feel free to at any time and chime in.
Chat.
Mhm.
We'll move on. Again.
Yeah,
Oh,
real
yeah, go
quick,
ahead.
the only thing that came through the chat is that Lynette has said she is unmuted but still can't. And Kevin mentioned that he wasn't able to vote on the last couple pop-ups.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that would be happening, but
No, thanks for the feedback, for sure.
yeah.
We again, got a lot of moving parts trying to get this stuff.
Yeah, Lynette, we can't hear you, so maybe there's another setting.
Moving on. Public participation, involvement, program to create opportunities for individuals, organizations to participate in development application activities to reduce the contamination of stormwater. So you have that for MCM 2, the TMDL performance standard there. looking at how are you gonna evolve in the activities over the permit term? Single public involvement activities can target multiple activities. So that's, again, depending on, we have like the pup program, pick up food for the dogs. We have, public water quality partnership for businesses, things of that nature, and all of that outreach has TMDL language in it. So we're trying to hit that all the time throughout, especially with our permit, because we cover unincorporated Franklin County and have all the watersheds and all of the different pollutants within our requirements to meet. So looks like I'm on to that next one. Have you held public involvement activity this term with targets and identified TMDL? But getting the green signal still? Check it. Yeah. So again, there's something, we all want to know. I think it's time to look into some of the activities and how you can incorporate that. Again, these are all different permit terms. So you do have the 5-year permit term to get this stuff accomplished. Basically, like I say, we try to shoot for that on a yearly basis, just because I think the learning aspect. We've always got new people in the communities coming in. There's never really a downtime where this stuff is not important to somebody somewhere, or at least they can learn from it. MCF3 lists discharge detection elimination. Detect, eliminate cross connection, dumping waste, stormwater discharges authorized by separate entities. The MDL performance standard is annual employee training, which includes illicit detection and elimination topics. That's something that we look to do with communities every year. We always have your annual training that should be happening. Try to really pull topics, or we try to get those ED topics in on that conversation as well. Looks like online's given us
So far,
everybody so far.
everybody so far. And for any of the county people that are here, we do have scheduled some, couple training dates for September. So we'll be sending out some information on registering to attend those here soon.
And if there's anything we have questions about, we'll talk about. Again, we're approaching this roundtable as a little bit more of a roundtable. This is why we want your feedback, we want your input. I'll have to put more questions in the next one. As the room will be clicking one, how this works, but feel free to chime in anytime. Old question, block my answer.
Oh, really? The way it's positioned?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Construction site runoff control. Sure everybody's aware of that. Anything over an acre. For part of a larger company like the office sale, whereas that erosion sediment control. Justin and I had some talks about the common plan of development actually comes to redevelopment, how that applies. That's something I think that we need a better understanding of when it applies. Well, Cuyahoga is approaching things a little differently, looking at larger common plan developments in a zoning sense. So you might have a block of buildings that are changing the, community zoning aspect to it. They're looking for larger stormwater retrofits to serve those areas. We're doing something similar to that with Zone N in Columbus right now. Looking at some of these corridors, how they can be redeveloped in a cohesive sense. And I think some of the things we need to look at there are how this redevelopment occurs, whether it's a parcel or whether it's like a large development. I think some of the older mall areas that we have, that are they're going out of fashion. They're becoming these large areas with no stormwater because they were built before stormwater requirements. Some of them really hammer some of our urban areas. Dry Run comes to mind, Big Run comes to mind. Those areas really have some urban stream syndrome issues. And this might be a chance to really look at that redevelopment of those parcels, not only from the post-development aspect. In post-development, all they're going to have to be looking at really to meet the permit requirements is that capture of 20% of water quality, which is very minimal. They can do that with some new grass islands, some new landscaping that do it with the front buffer area and the side. You can reach that 20%. I need to rethink that a little bit, look at these areas and get some regional basins, regional stormwater to really affect change in those areas. PMO performance standards, I got a little off on construction sites. So this one does have quite a few aspects to it, but to be aware of, because but it does apply if that TSS nutrients in your area. So that's when this is going to really kick in. And looking at some of the issues there, inspected once every 14 days instead of on a monthly basis. If it has construction activities that started in swim, failure to install sediment basins, construction activities taking place with erosion control, things of that nature. If you've got problem sites or things like that, this 14-day period kicks in. Frankly, soil water, we do 14-day inspections anyway, so we're already covering everybody that we do inspections for in this, just because we found 14 days is a good period to be on site for face time and getting aware of issues and keeping on top of them. A month is just too long. You come back, they don't know who you are, you're missing people. Things change dramatically in a month, especially if you have weather like today. Construction really goes to town, things change rapidly. So, like I said, we're already doing 14 days. We've got this covered for the communities. Does your inspection cover performance standards?
Should I put my poll up or when we leave it, just tell me when I need to have mine down before you.
Everybody get a green signal. Let me see if I can your polls up. Okay.
I can minimize it at least so that it's not in your view.
It wants me to answer.
Oh, it wants you to answer.
Yeah, it
That's
takes
right.
me off my screen. Is what it does.
Gotcha. Gonna end that then. Well, but that's gonna be I guess that is the issue.
Yeah.
I'll have to.
Yeah, I'm basically running my own parents. Interfere with speech. Yeah, so those performance standards, thinking about what that means, and especially locations that with the city of Columbus, you're kind of like us too, you're all over the place, you've really got everything covered. Something I didn't mention, it's notable in that Appendix A is two of our biggest communities, Dublin and Grove City, are in there because it's Scioto watershed. There's no TMDL there yet for that. There is a draft out. Any word on where and how that draft is gone and been and where it's gone? Justin, you heard anything on draft plans and how they're process. Nothing. So like I said, there is a draft plan out there. I don't know where that's at, but it will make changes when that does come on to some work meetings. So post-construction. Implementing maintenance controls on site after development. Everybody knows these, quickly go through these. Again, this applies in those areas that have the PSS or the nutrients. Like educational opportunities for SWIP designers, contractors, employees. Table 4B practices. So this is really that aspect of promoting green infrastructure in the community. How can we do that during all succession permits? Would imagine something that's in addition to this. Are some of these requirements here: retrofitting a practice with peak discharge function to meet performance standards for extended detention. So we've actually worked with Crawford Farms, you guys are probably familiar with. It was a Columbus basin that's been retrofitted for this. It was only for peak discharge. Now it has water quality aspects to it. 300 feet linear channelized stream, natural stability. I think this is going to be a tough one for a lot of communities. We have captured communities like Bexley. There's no way they're going to ever be able to find something like this to do in their community. That's probably going to be the hard reach for a lot of folks to do. Updating ordinance to regulatory mechanisms require 4B practices. A lot of communities, when we updated for 7 erosion control, changed some of the language to read the most recent construction permit instead of numbering them by plan. Putting a number in there, and it updates your code all the time. So I would say a lot of our communities are already doing this by reference to construction chapter. We may disagree with that. I don't know, but I think, you know, if you're required to use the construction general permit and meet those requirements, that's what your zoning, your committee is saying. I think by reference, you probably need that already.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd be exactly true, because referencing the permit allows you to use 4A or 4B,
Yeah.
you know, either or as necessary. Whereas this is
where fees
taken to the next level, which is saying you're going to start at table 4B and then move to something else. So it's a little bit different tack on it. What's feasible, what's not feasible, that's probably the big challenge, but.
So I do like, so install one word 4B practices your existing impervious area developed prior to 2003. I think this is where that redevelopment aspect comes in. This is your opportunity here. But if you're looking at projects in your community and saying, hey, let's do some water quality in here and have that as part of that redevelopment aspect in your community, I think you're going to get a lot of these back. Again, as you can see, a lot of this is my interpretation permit, so we get different permit interpretations for folks. That's why we've got to really collaborate to talk.
So Dave, let me ask you then on that last bullet.
Yeah.
Say you, as a community, you have someone coming through that's going to be doing a commercial redevelopment. You can take advantage of their project, or would the community themselves have to be doing the project? I mean, like,
There again is an
would
interpretation.
they have to be partnering with that developer in some other way, or could they take advantage of it if it's within that TMDL watershed, that project might be a good way to help encourage developers too, if the community can take advantage of that redevelopment as part of their TMDL performance standard.
Yeah, those are those nuances. I mean, I think that any of those ways would work.
Yeah.
If thought was somewhere in the community, we're taking at least 1 acre. Looking at, like Dave was saying, hey, we have an old shopping center. We could use that. The challenge would become that's probably private.
Right.
most of the municipalities are gonna say, okay, I gotta do this on one of my acres.
Right, and they
Just
might not have anything
Mostly
that's.
parks and roads probably, and it might be
Right.
very difficult,
Mhm.
unless they can,
Just an interesting,
Together.
for some reason it just popped in my
Yeah.
head when you read it that way.
Yeah,
It
me
just
too.
sounded. Just thinking, there's so much redevelopment potential, but it's all private. for the
it
most
sounds easy in any community, there's probably plenty of acreage that they could utilize, but
Mhm.
the. Yeah.
Yeah.
The partnership and ownership would
Mm.
probably could be a big obstacle.
But I think you would also be meeting the kind of the 4B practice idea of you're promoting that in your community and getting that project done in that TMDL area, even if it's commercial or private or public. Probably something we would
Mhm.
submit as potential or in reporting if we ever have to say that and meet that requirement. So again, this is part of that, the MCM is that these can be done outside of the community area, but within that TMDL area. So if you do have a community, let's say like a Bexley that doesn't have any place to go, they can partner with somebody as long as it's in that same TMDL area. So there is that partnership opportunity and that ability to do it outside your jurisdictional boundary. So here we'll try another question. Does your municipality promote and use green infrastructure practices?
You're gonna get that in your face again. Sorry, you can't move it anywhere, can you, while it's up on your screen?
Kidding, no, I can't.
Yeah. Give a few more seconds on my
Yeah,
end.
I'll give you some time and
Majority of my folks have chimed in, so.
everybody, nice, that's what I like to see.
We have a couple online that said no, so just
No, okay.
got 50-50 online. Mhm.
50 online, okay. It's telling me, but we probably need bigger poll results, so.
Yeah.
So MCM6, pollution prevention, good housekeeping for municipal operations, program employee training component. This is probably a bigger one for communities just because now this is really reaching out to your staff and your operations. The TMDL performance standard there, again, that applies. PSS, nutrients. Surprised they put, so where does it dissolve, you get dissolved oxygen, organic enrichment? Since that's not in the appendix list anywhere. I noticed that was something that was in the permit language as far as
Yeah,
PMDLs.
that's a good question. I don't know the answer to it outside of the appendix is just an aid to assist communities and.
Is it in federal PMDLs? I mean.
Well,
sure that's-
our TMDLs, but as I'm saying, that, the appendix A lists the others, just so you don't have to go figure it out on your own. And my guess is it was an oversight, that's why.
Yeah, I didn't see those
organic
listed
enrichment
anywhere.
wasn't put in appendix A too, unless it is, and I just never noticed it.
So apparently we don't have any in Franklin County, so that's why I'm taking away from that.
I know there were several. I don't say several, but there were a few errors. In that. Some of the processing that developed, which is not through the stormwater group, but yeah. Or quality folks.
So again, this does have a time frame on it, 2 years after renewing coverage under the permit. So that is 2 years from when you renewed your coverage under the permit, which might not be with what the permit was, but again, it's 2 years. Those performance standards. I just highlighted the or there because it's not like you have to do all of these. It's one or the other. So it's things like street sweeping, catch basin cleaning, implement leaf and yard waste programs. MS4s, let's see. Oh, this has to do with the inspections of your facilities. Some of the information that need to be collected for that. We try to send out, at least for our communities, quarterly inspection notices for their facilities. We're treating all our facilities the same. They're all at least required from our standpoint to do that quarterly inspection. Whether or not they do it is not a bad thing, because we're also overdoing it on our quarterly inspections. Some of that specifically is we've got the visual taking a sample from your site during a rain event and actually looking at those and recording what you see from that sample. It's pretty basic, you know, whether it's cloudy, whether there's oil in it. But we're also having them do that at least once during those quarterly inspections.
Yeah, and the other reason is because if you do it with these requirements, it's another performance standard that you can meet by doing those quarterly inspections. Is the other or, right? That's how that.
So here's a question for you. Have you read your swamp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chance to do your thing.
What's swamp stand for? That's a good one. Stormwater management, like per program. I hear both ways. But that's really, you know, that's what makes up those 6 MCMs. Those 6 MCMs together should be that plan for your community. And again, I think it's something we've ran into, just finding it sometimes is a problem. And again, you know, EPA shows up for an audit, you might want to know where that's at and ahead, just for those purposes. We do have, Lynette was kind enough to send this updated summary. I used an old one for my updates. I would suggest everybody take a look at this, this new summary. I think she said it wasn't up on the website yet, so we got a copy for it here. We'll put it in.
I can print it out too.
Resources order. If you want one, we can print it out.
Oh, it is now, she says on the chat. It's on the website.
It is now. Okay, awesome. But here's an update. It's got those performance checklists on it to really help you understand what those changes are. And again, like I say, we only got about a year and a half till the next permit comes out. Things you get done in that time, you know, could really be auditable things that you haven't done. So if you're missing things, you know, now's the time to really plan to get those done, so you're covered for that permit term. I threw this in here just because it's something else I want to mention. When we do development and our stormwater calculations, we're using what's called the Atlas 14 for our storm event, our precipitation data. You can see here we got a 374. This is our 10-year precipitation data amount. This would be the 100-year. What this represents is change over time. This is 2 models. One's the DoD. This is the Strategic Environmental Research Program that they have, and this is EPA's resiliency program that they do as well. We funded a study with OSU to look at what does climate change mean to us here. This is example future rainfall data for Columbus. This is the data ran with these 2 sets of data. You've got some starts here with the Atlas 14 data, so here's your 10-year. I really want to point out something. We're using this data here. This is 2006 data, which actually was all produced before 2000. So all of our current stormwater is using these kind of numbers to build our stormwater infrastructure. We're already here at this point here. The models are already suggesting this 4.02 is at the 90% confidence interval for the data set that we're designing for. So what that means is we're undersizing already based on these models in this current data set. Now you can see it only is progressing upwards. The 100-year here, this 6.2 is more or less the 50-year data. So what we're doing now is approving plans that are creating stormwater that's already behind the curve. And then if we look and say 25-year, 25-year design life of this infrastructure, we're already behind the curve of the level of services is already basically a storm category off from where it should be for that time period. So something I'm suggesting to all communities is that when they look at development plans and stormwater, you might start asking them to look at maybe a future design year or use the upper limits of that confidence interval on their stormwater. I think we're already falling behind with the development. We've got a lot of development going on in Central Ohio right now. A lot. And it's not going to slow down for at least a couple of years. Atlas 14 is supposed to come out in 26. You're going to be seeing changes like this already in Atlas 15. You're going to have to be building to that level at that point anyway. So if you want to build in resiliency into your stormwater, start looking at these values, what they're submitting. All of our hydrocad programs run on this model. And this is how it gets input. That's what the model runs. That's what the output gives you. And we approve the plan and the stormwater goes on. So that's my 2 cents on that. That's all I have. I'll open it up for any questions anybody has. Any comments, questions, anything? Crowd is stunned.
Yesterday, there was a WebEx or a webinar from Pennsylvania they were presenting. And their stormwater permits, they started to have targets. Reduction in TSS load, the 5% reduction in coli. Do we, again, this one for Justin, has there been consideration or anything? There's a high going to be seen there too in the stormwater, but there's actually performance based. And for permit, the permit cycle, you got to reduce 5-10% of your loads or E. coli, TSS, and that. So I was surprised Pennsylvania had that. They were kind of presenting on it yesterday that they have it in the multiple their permits. Is that something being considered? Or hopefully not. To be honest, but that was the first I heard about a stormwater permit that had like a load reduction part.
They probably have it. I didn't watch that. I saw that, but probably I'm assuming because they're a Chesapeake Bay state. So
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, who knows? Can't predict the future. There's nothing in the plans now. The challenge to that concept is then, you got to start associating credits to actions and BMPs and do the math. And that's where, to me, a lot of the unknowns are, because you look at some of the states that have done that, and then you look at the variable credits associated with BMPs. That's not really an exact science. So that would be a significant challenge to develop that system program where you're required to go that way at some point.
Yeah, because they didn't go into details, I guess, how do you prove that you reduced it by 5%? You need to have some kind of baseline, you know, like, what is that? Because I mean, if we're going, we always have a hard time kind of even to quantify or to qualify what is the stormwater, you know, and what is your baseline, I guess? Because it depends where you sample or what day or, you know, so that's why they didn't go into details, that was just really popped up that they have like a performance standard that they're on their stormwater. Because right now we have a TMDL to just address, you have a identified TMDL to address the polluted, most of your outreach and your educational, but it's not really tied to kind of, you know, reduction or. But that's why I was just kind of curious. But that would be a radical change to. And most of it's stormwater.
I think the top,
Yeah.
grasp that concept of how they're going to reduce 5%. What?
Yeah.
Monitoring. You know, I don't know where that's going to go. Further questions?
I don't see anything in the chat, but give you guys a chance. If you want to unmute yourself again, feel free to chime in, or if you have anything else you want to discuss. Pizza's here.
Yeah.
Pizza's here.
Virtually do that.
Yeah. I think I have a thing to add.
You know, I guess my last question, sorry, do you see big changes coming in the next permit? Like anything that's drastically would be different, because he put in TMDLs was the big change with the previous. TMDLs were not incorporated in previous version, and that was not a drastic change, but at least it was something different. Okay, each watershed did TMDLs, you need to address your outreach, that was probably the big change. Because we get a little bit of insight and our permit usually follows that general. So ours expired 27, so we're usually by ours, because we're each one, but it almost mimics the general. So it's kind of, there's something we should be at least aware of. And this is going to be breaking down. Do you guys anticipate any kind of major changes?
I don't think I would see anything changing much. If anything, depending on how politics goes this year, it might be decreased. So we'll see.
Vote.
And like I said, we're not a year and a half off, so I mean, we're still a little bit away from probably starting some of that initial process, the early stakeholder outreach and that, but it is kind of mind blowing to think that's just around the corner. I'm sure we'll evaluate some of these options that were provided, and if there's others, that was sort of crash course assembly when the last permit renewed, so there might be some new ideas that come about in terms of adding to those performance standards. I think any of those changes would probably hopefully be more on the beneficial side than the restricted side.
Right.
I mean, that's just my conjecture at this point, but
Have you heard much with the existing program, like issues or things that note communities that they're having maybe a hard time? Probably one for Lynette.
yeah, because I'm not in tune with the MS4s on the other elements besides construction, post-construction, but yes, I mean, in those standards, there's been a lot of discussion. I know trying to, as we just brought about how to potentially meet those, and a little bit lately on the stream restoration element and what might qualify for that. Just looking for details. What the expectations were.
I think that the TMBL changes, I mean, there were was a lot of them in the permit. So that's probably the biggest thing, is kind of getting a handle on that in this permit in terms of. I was hoping to hear, what the problems were. And have you done this, have you done that? Kind of get that kind of general feedback from where they're at. And I hope it helped you guys too as well, to maybe think about your programs a little bit more. What you can do to influence.
Talked about similar surveys, from a learning standpoint of gaining that information, and that might be part of some of the stakeholder outreach. Data is not always dependable, obviously. Folks may not want to admit what they aren't doing, but it is useful to know. I mean, from an educational standpoint, in order to craft that permit. That might be something that's part of the early stakeholder outreach too,
Yeah,
because that's the biggest unknown right now. In terms of, as you said, how the permit's being implemented.
Yep. Well, that's, got a presentation here for everybody to be part of. That's their own crowd. Again, that's all I have. I think we'll say that's it, except for
the pizza.
pizza that's
Hang
there
around.
for you guys. Came to attend. And I appreciate you attending, and thank you for the folks online as well.
Yep, I'll follow up.
Put up with our technical difficulties, figuring out how to run things here. With that, I'll end it and say so long till next time.
Yep.
Thanks.